I've been intrigued with amaryllis since I was a young girl. Watching that stalk come up quickly and then give you huge, beautiful blooms is intriguing even at this age. Do you want gorgeous amaryllis blossoms by Thanksgiving? Christmas, maybe even by Valentine's Day? Well, the key is to plant them 6 to 8 weeks before you want them to bloom. Whether you got yourself, maybe a little Christmas gift while you're out getting some for others, or whether somebody gave you a Christmas gift of an amaryllis. We're going to talk today about everything you need to know to plant them, from the right size pot to the first critical watering. I'm Carol from Almost 2 Acres. Let's get planting amaryllis.
In the last video, we covered how to choose the best amaryllis bulbs. Now it's time to get them planted. And I have to tell you, planting amaryllis is one of the most satisfying gardening tasks because they're so reliable and fast growing. How you plant your bulb makes a huge difference in whether you get one wimpy flower or multiple spectacular stalks. Today, I'm showing you the exact planting method for great results, plus I'll share some alternative planting methods, including the trendy stones and water technique. First, let's talk timing. Amaryllis are predictable bloomers, which means you can plan close to when you want the flowers. Plant your bulb 6 to 10 weeks before you want blooms. Most bulbs bloom closer to 8 weeks, but some varieties are faster or slower. For Christmas blooms, plant in late October to early November. For New Year's, plant in early to mid-November. For Valentine's Day, plant in mid to late December. For Easter, plant 8 to 10 weeks before the holiday date. To make the cold season seem shorter by having continuous blooms throughout winter, buy multiple bulbs and plant them in 2-week intervals. That way, as one finishes blooming, another is just starting. It's kind of like having a living flower arrangement that lasts for months. One more thing about timing. If your bulb arrives and you're not ready to plant, that's okay. Store it in a cool, dry place between 40 and 50 degrees Fahrenheit. A basement or garage works great. Just don't store it in the refrigerator with apples. Apples give off ethylene gas that can sterilize the bulb and prevent flowering. Container choice matters more than you might think. Here's what to look for. Your pot should be 1 to 2 inches wider than the diameter of your bulb. If your bulb is 4 inches across, use a 6-inch pot. This might seem snug, but amaryllis actually prefer being pot-bound. It encourages blooming. The pot should also be fairly tall, at least twice the height of your bulb. These bulbs send down substantial roots and they need room. Amaryllis get top-heavy when they bloom. Those massive flowers on tall stalks can actually tip over a lightweight pot. This is what I prefer. Ceramic or terracotta pots, heavy glazed pottery, or if you love plastic pots, nestle them inside a heavier cache pot. Your pot must have drainage holes. Amaryllis bulbs will rot if they sit in standing water. If you fall in love with a pot without drainage, use it as a decorative outer pot and plant your bulb in a plastic pot that fits inside. Want to plant several bulbs together for a spectacular display? Absolutely! Use a wider container and space bulbs so there's about 1 inch between each bulb and 2 inches from the pot edge. A 10 to 12 inch pot can comfortably hold 3 bulbs. Just make sure all the bulbs are the same variety so they bloom at the same time. Soil choice is simple but important. Amaryllis need a well-draining mix that holds some moisture without getting soggy. There are 3 best options. 1. High-quality potting mix. Look for one labeled for indoor plants or containers. These are already formulated to drain well. 2. Custom mix your own. Mix equal parts peat moss and perlite. This is what professional growers use and it gives excellent results. 3. Use a cactus succulent mix. These drain exceptionally well and work great for amaryllis. Here's what you want to avoid. Garden soil. It's too heavy and doesn't drain well in containers. Old compacted potting soil. If it's been sitting around for years, buy fresh. Do you need to add fertilizer when planting amaryllis? No, you don't need to add fertilizer to the soil. The bulb already contains all the nutrients it needs for this first bloom. In fact, there are enough nutrients in that bulb to produce flowers and leaves without any soil at all, which is why the stones and water method works. We'll add fertilizer later after the bulb blooms to help it store energy for next year. But for now, plain potting mix is perfect. Before we plant, let's prep the bulb. This takes just a couple of minutes but makes a big difference. Even if you inspect it at purchase, check one more time for any soft spots, mold, or damage. Remove any loose, papery skin that's peeling off. This is normal and fine to pull away. Look at the base of the bulb. You'll probably see some dried brown roots. These are old roots from the bulb's previous growing cycle. You can trim these off with clean scissors or pruners, cutting them back to about half an inch from the bulb. Leave any white or light colored roots. These are alive and will grow once planted. Some growers like to soak the roots, just the roots, not the whole bulb, in lukewarm water for a few hours before planting. This helps rehydrate the roots and can encourage faster initial growth. Is it necessary? No. Does it help? It can, especially if your bulb has been in storage for a while. You might see a little green shoot emerging from the top. That's great. It means your bulb is ready and eager to grow. Just be gentle with it during planting. Now for the actual planting. I'm going to walk through this step by step. Step 1. If you're using a deep pot, you can add a thin layer of gravel or broken pottery shards at the bottom to improve drainage. This is optional, but helpful. Step 2. Add your potting soil until the pot is about half full. Don't pack it down hard. You want it loose enough for roots to penetrate easily, but firm enough to support the bulb. Next is the directional part. Set your bulb on top of the soil with the pointed end facing up and the flat root end down. This seems obvious, but I've seen people get confused. Now here's what makes amaryllis planting unique. You want the top third to half of the bulb exposed above the soil line. This is really important. Most bulbs get planted completely underground, but amaryllis are different. The neck and shoulders of the bulb should stick up out of the soil. There are several reasons for this. First, it prevents rot at the bulb's crown. Second, it helps prevent red blotch disease. Third, it makes it easier to monitor the bulb's condition. Fourth, it's how they grow naturally in their native habitat. Step 4, hold the bulb in position and fill in around it with more potting mix. Press the soil gently but firmly around the sides of the bulb. You want the bulb to be stable. It shouldn't wobble. Step 5. Make sure to leave about half an inch of space between the soil surface and the rim of the pot. This gives you room for watering without overflow. Step 6. Gently press the soil down around the bulb to eliminate air pockets. The bulb should now be sitting securely. If you gently try to wobble it, it should barely move. Sometimes bulbs will want to lean to one side as they grow. To prevent this, make sure your bulb is perfectly vertical when you plant it and rotate the pot every few days once growth starts. Now comes the first watering, and this is where a lot of people make mistakes. Pay attention! Water thoroughly right after planting. Pour water slowly around the edges of the pot, not directly on top of the bulb, until water runs out the drainage holes. This settles the soil around the roots and eliminates any air pockets. Here's the all-important part. After that initial thorough watering, you need to hold back. Don't water again until you see growth emerging from the top of the bulb. This usually takes around 2 weeks, depending on the variety and conditions. I know it feels wrong to not water your plant, but trust me on this. Overwatering dormant bulbs is the #1 cause of bulb rot. Why? Because the bulb is dormant right now. It doesn't need much water. Once it starts to grow, it will need regular moisture, but until then, that one good watering is enough. Once you see about 2 inches of growth, either a flower spike or leaves emerging, then you'll start regular watering. We'll cover that in the next video on care during growth and blooming. Where you put your pot after planting really matters for getting those blooms on schedule. Place your potted amaryllis in a bright location. The ideal spot is a sunny window. South-facing is best, where it gets several hours of direct sunlight daily. Warmth speeds up growth. The ideal temperature range is 70 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit during the day. The warmer it is, within reason, the faster your bulb will sprout and grow. Some people even set their pots on top of the refrigerator or use a heating mat underneath to provide bottom heat. This can speed up sprouting. If you planted early and realize your bulb is going to bloom too soon, you can slow it down by moving it to a cooler location, 60 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit. This gives you some control over timing. Here's something important. Once your flower stalk starts growing, it will lean towards the light source. To keep it growing straight, rotate your pot a quarter turn every few days. This keeps the growth vertical instead of leaning.
Please take the time right now to give this video a thumbs up so it goes out to more people and they can learn about Amaryllis just like you.
Now let's talk about the stones and water planting method. This is a nice way to grow Amaryllis, especially if you want a decorative display or to give as a gift. What you need: a waterproof container. Glass vases are beautiful and let you see the roots. Clean river stones, pebbles, or decorative glass beads. Water, and an Amaryllis bulb. This works best with fresh, firm bulbs. Step 1. Prepare the bulb. Trim off any dry, brown roots, leaving white, healthy roots intact. If you want, soak the roots in lukewarm water for a couple of hours. Step 2. Add stones to the container. Fill your container about 2 to 4 inches deep with stones or pebbles. Step 3. Position the bulb. Set the bulb on top of the stones, roots facing down. Step 4. Add more stones. Carefully add more stones around the bulb to hold it upright. The stones should come up to support the sides of the bulb, but leave the top third exposed, just like if you were planting in soil. Step 5. Add water carefully. Here's the critical part. Add water until it reaches about 1 inch below the base of the bulb. The water should touch the roots, but not the bulb itself. If the bulb sits in water, it will rot. For ongoing care, check water levels every few days and add more as needed to keep it at that same level, touching the roots but not the bulb. You'll see the roots grow down into the water. It's really pretty to watch. Sadly, Amaryllis grown in water won't be as strong as those grown in soil, and the bulb exhausts itself completely. You can't save it for reblooming, but for a one-time spectacular display, especially in a beautiful glass container, this method is quite stunning. Let me quickly address some common planting concerns. Problem: I accidentally got the bulb too wet during planting. Don't panic. Just make sure your pot has good drainage. Don't water again until you see growth. The bulb will likely be fine. Problem: I planted the bulb too deep. Carefully lift it and add more soil underneath to raise it up. Better to fix it now than leave it buried. Problem: the roots are sticking out above the soil. This is actually okay. Amaryllis roots sometimes grow above soil level. You can cover them with a thin layer of soil if you want, but it's not necessary. Problem: I planted multiple bulbs and one is growing faster. This is normal. Bulbs grow at different rates. They'll likely still bloom around the same time. Question: should I add a moss covering on top? It looks pretty, but I don't recommend it. Moss holds moisture against the bulb and can promote rot. If you want it for looks, wait until the bulb is actively growing. Your Amaryllis is now set for success. In the next video, I'll walk you through care during the growth and blooming phase, when to start regular watering, how to support those heavy flower stalks, and how to make your blooms last as long as possible.
I hope you enjoyed learning more about planting Amaryllis. They really are one of my favorite blossoms for the winter. They just bring joy when there's a lot of snow outside and icky cold weather. Until next time, let's get looking at those beautiful online catalogs and dreaming of Amaryllis and then buying them, and then let's get planting.